Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by
Sphere Exclusives. Looking for exclusive content from your favorite podcasts here at the Sphere? Head over to sphere.tv/Patreon and sign up today. True Digital Media Consulting. You're online right now and so are your customers, but marketing has to be a consistent journey. True Digital Media Consulting can help with your online ads, organic growth, and so much more. Contact us today at 832-934-4436 or visit our website at truedigitalmediaconsulting.com. Lady Ari Natural Hair Care. Lady Ari Natural Hair Care has been a prime destination for catering to naturally kinky hair in Houston, Texas. Give the experts a call today at area code 832-265-3792 or book online at ladyari.com.
What's up, everyone? It's your man, Kalen Laws, a.k.a. Senior Wapo. Do me a quick favor. Go to Instagram, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, and follow me at SENORGUAP0713. Why would you want to do that? Because you can always find out what we're talking about right here on Society Now. We are a groundbreaking, cutting-edge podcast that's here for the real talk. No hashtag fake news. It's all about real facts. In fact, I have a good friend. No, I have a great person. No, I have a phenomenal lover. No, I have my partner, the love of my life, the beautiful, the phenomenal. Tell them who you are.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
Hey.
Okay. So, hey, everyone. My name is Kira Laws. You can follow me on Instagram at The Modern Day Cindy. That's Cindy with two I's, Cindi. I'm not on all social media platforms with that name, like Senior Wapo over here to my right. But you can follow me on Twitter at The MDC Official or Modern Day Cindy.
There it is.
Yeah,
What's up?
There's two accounts for that.
When you got it like that, I mean, it's what it is.
You know,
everybody's not worthy enough. Everybody doesn't have the capacity to handle two.
Twitter
and
has
five.
too much restrictions on their character count when it comes to names. So I'm just kind of like, this is restricting me. I have to get creative with these names. So yeah, I do the best that I can when I can.
You do a phenomenal job.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate it. Now there are a few things happening in the news.
Let's do it.
A few.
A little bit.
Let's see. We didn't get a chance to talk about this, but I want to talk about it, kind of circle back around and kind of give people a little, a flashback into last week. Mm-hmm. There is at Georgetown University, their students actually voted to pay an additional $27 in their tuition just for reparations. And I think that is, I think that's really cool that they would do something like that, considering that that's a big talking point, especially for the 2020 election, about reparations. Should they be paid? How they should be paid? Are we past that point for paying reparations to the black people? Mm-hmm. So what do you think about the reparations conversation?
So I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation. So specifically, the $27 goes towards students or folks who were descendants of slaves that go to Georgetown. It wasn't like they're trying to pay they're trying to pay folks, for black folks reparations all over the country. It's specifically regarding students at Georgetown, and I think it's an interesting and a powerful conversation. Reparations were initially 40 acres and a mule, right? And that was because land was the currency of the day, and land is still a major currency across this world.
Because if you have a land, you also have wealth. Ideally, that builds your net worth, right?
Yeah, absolutely, it builds your net worth. You have tax breaks because you have, like, if you put certain things on your like, if you put some cattle on your land, you
Some
Yeah.
0 to no tax.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Don't get oil or mineral rights. Oh my
man,
gosh,
you
then it's
are
a cash
ballin'.
cow, right? And so but just having land in and of itself creates wealth. There's the land value all over this country varies from state to state, city to city, municipality to municipality, and so that kind of was the idea back in the day. And remember, 40 acres and a mule was back in the time when you worked and tilled your own land, you grew your own crops, right? You had your own things on the land. So the mule was to pull the plow, so to speak, for whatever crops you were able to grow and sell, because that was a way for you to make your income. So you can't have 40 acres and a mule now. There's not enough. It's just there's literally not enough land for us to get 40 acres. Of those of us who are descendants of slaves.
Yeah.
But I think there is some just due. Now, folks who say, yeah, right, you're doing too much, they're like, affirmative action is a part of it, or black folks get too many handouts, all of this kind of
Where?
deal. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what we have to deal with. So the fact that this private institution, which oftentimes what's always interesting about this is private institutions are the ones that generally lead the charge.
Absolutely.
Because they don't have the bureaucracy of the government and governmental funding to fight with.
Right.
So, excuse me. I think it's interesting that these private institutions are the ones who kind of lead this charge and have this kind of conversation.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing, because we even think, I think you made a really good point when you said private institutions. I know not too long ago we were talking about other private institutions, specifically in the HBCU community, that are leading the charge when it comes to change, when it comes to like policies and procedures. So truly, across the board, private institutions usually, because they have more latitude, like you mentioned, to actually make changes and be impactful.
So this isn't on the runner show, but we're talking about private institutions. Did you know? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Did you know that Morehouse?
Oh yes.
Another private institution, right? As you said HBCU, you said Morehouse. You made me think about it. Morehouse is. Remember we talked about this a while ago. That they were they put out a survey to the students about whether or not students would allow transgendered males, so people who once were women who have now had a sex change and they're considered male, transgender males, will they allow them to attend the university? Well, that passed, and so starting in 2019, the fall of 2019, transgendered males, whether they're pre-op or post-op, as far to my knowledge, they will be able to enter into Morehouse. Now I'm wondering, is Spelman going to follow suit?
That's such an interesting conversation, and yes, it is leading the charge, because we have to think about private institutions, the monies, the people, ideally the alumni, and some of the community are actually paying for what they want to see happen on that campus. And so I guess in an effort to be politically correct, an effort to be inclusive, specifically inclusive, I'm going to just take PC away, specifically inclusive, they have to consider that conversation, and they have to consider it on the grander scale and not just a narrow perspective. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in schools that are not private, that are publicly funded by the state. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, that's interesting. So again, it's just another example of what happens regarding these private institutions, man, how they're able to kind of lead the charge in social contexts, in social ideas. It's just very, very interesting to watch. So shout out to institutions like Georgetown, like Morehouse, and other private institutions, whether you're in HBCU, HSI, or a PWI, it doesn't matter your designation. Shout out to the private institutions who are able to move and shake, because there's some freedom in that. You know what I'm saying? There's really some freedom in the moving and shaking without having to deal with the bureaucracy of governmental funding being your main source of income for the institution.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of freedom in that.
Now, we're talking about institutions, or maybe federal bureaucracy, if you would. There is, I shouldn't even say federal bureaucracy, the federal government. Well, we have, just talking about like travel. Let's talk about travel. And I need
to get on the plane. That's the travel.
I am overdue for a trip.
I want to talk about.
I'm overdue for a trip, but absolutely. TSA agents have actually come out and say that their body scanners might be discriminating against black women. Officials at the agency are discovering that what many black women already know, the process of scanning for security at times singles them out. And I have a theory of why that may be. I have, since we've been together and we've traveled a lot, have
Quite
never
extensively.
not had
Hallelujah.
the scanner beep
Yeah.
when I was scanned. And usually it's because of
Your hair.
my hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most ridiculous thing. Now, I'm aware that people can do a whole bunch of things. We just saw in the news that some man, or something you showed me, that a guy actually smuggled a 10-inch gun in his anus in jail. We're not even talking about. We're talking about they will spend quality
crazy.
time on my hair, as if I'm smuggling, I don't know, in my hair. I don't even know.
Giving
what
you
could
the
be.
full pat down.
The full pat down, but specifically on my head.
Right.
And it's interesting, and I do see that it happens most frequently with black women. It might have to do with the hairstyles that we choose, but I don't necessarily know if it's the chemicals. I don't necessarily know if you're wearing extensions or not. I don't necessarily, but it does happen. I'm a witness, and I have been. I don't want to say a victim because I don't feel victimized at all. But I definitely know I've noted it that I have never traveled and not have that thing beep on my head.
Hey, you know what's crazy? What kind of world do we live in where the machines actually are discriminating? Like, was there a code put in?
Like is there a specific, what's in, like, so we cannot use it anymore? Like, is it, I'm be funny, like, is it that the girls with braids need to not use cankalon hair? Like, 'cause that's a synthetic hair.
Yeah, guys, I don't.
Is it the, the cankalon hair? It's the synthetic synthetic fiber that's used instead of human hair. It's a synthetic fiber that's used, or is it?
Why you just can't say synthetic?
Because it's this type of synthetic fiber.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Okay, and then or I've seen it happen with supposed to be human hair.
Yes.
It's
pseudo
human hair. It's supposed to be human hair, and it beeps. So I'm trying to figure out, is it the hair or is it us? You see what I'm saying?
You know what? I really think. Listen,
it's a good conversation.
Listen, biologically, physiologically, all hair is made out of the same substance.
Well, so it must not be the hair.
So it's keratin. So I don't think it's the hair.
Well, if it's not real hair, it might be the hair.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no. If
because it's not
real
keratin,
hair,
right?
For sure. Yeah, no,
because it is
synthetic.
flammable.
Facts. and
Inferno.
In fuego. And so, I don't know, man. But now I wonder what's on the other side of this, right? So it's been acknowledged. Cool. All right. Now, is there an investigation going on to try to figure it out? Okay, so TSA agent said it. So did the director of the FAA?
They noticed it.
You know what I'm saying?
Did
the director of the FAA say, okay, let me look into this? Are execs from these airliners all over the world saying, okay, well, we need to check this. Like what's going on? Like is United and Southwest and JetBlue, are they all like, okay, and Delta and all that? So, well, y'all need to look into this because we don't want our customers, our passengers, what's on the other side of this statement? That's what I need to know.
So it's interesting because I've never been in the line for security and had anybody get upset for getting checked, right? Like not for the hair, because it's kind of like, it's usually really quick, like bam, 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 and I'm saying the hair. It might be other areas, but I always see it with hair. Mm-hmm. And I always it's so weird. You always check around you to see who else is getting the hair beep. It could be other areas, but it's
had that problem.
No, babe. If you beep,
listen. If they check me
and your hair
for hair, that's flat out discrimination.
If they scan you at the top of your head and it beeps, I'm going to be concerned about what's wrong with the scanner. Because I'm like, okay, at that point, it's not hair. It is identifying you based upon something else.
Because I'm a 6'4", 225-pound black man.
Because I'm like, there's nothing up there that you could be hiding unless somehow you had some face-off surgery and you are hiding something underneath, and it's not really your skin. It's something else, and you peel it down. So that's not the case. We're just kidding. That's not the case at all.
John Travolta and
Nicolas Cage. Okay, that is so funny. But okay, so in other news, it's other things happening too.
It's so random today.
It's so random. I mean, it is random, but this is not random.
No,
this is not random. This is not random. So one of the things that happened, and I want us to talk about it and really dive into this conversation. Yes. But before we dive into it, I think we need to go to an ad.
We need to go and talk about who is sponsoring this portion of the show. And that is the Sphere exclusive team. Are you looking for exclusive content that you cannot find anywhere else? Well, look no further than our Sphere exclusives found only on Patreon. We've got behind-the-scenes shots happening daily at the Sphere Podcast Studios. Each show on the podcast network curates episodes that are only delivered to Patreon subscribers. Plus, we deliver the show live from start to finish in our Discord server that is exclusive to our Patreon family. Now, you can sign up today at www.thesphere.tv/Patreon to join our $2, $5, or $8 level and get access to all of the exclusive content we offer at The Sphere. Go ahead and sign up. What's on your heart that you have to talk about?
Well, I thought this was an interesting talking point. Now, we all heard about the tragic burning of Notre Dame, right? The fire. And I hate to hear about anything that happens against a place of worship. Yeah. I really do. I mean, regardless of the faith. Yeah. Regardless of the faith, I mean, it's a place of worship. People congregate there because that's where they go for a communion, for a relationship.
It's sanctimonious.
It's sanctimonious, right? And I hate to hear that. But the conversation that came up today, which I thought was really interesting, different perspective, was how it took a Notre Dame fire for people to really turn and look inward at what's going on in our country with stuff that has been happening to a lot of the black churches. We have not really seen fires or shootings happening in predominantly white institutions of faith, but we have them very regularly even now in the United States. And they were saying since yesterday, we have seen, apparently there's been some report that came out today said there was an increase of giving to churches in black communities based upon what happened to the Notre Dame church. And I think that's interesting to see how that happens.
First of all, that's one clap for more money give to black churches.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, one clap.
That's one, but let's no clap for this. I'm just gonna be blunt. I'm just gonna keep it all the way funky.
Okay.
Keep it 100. Right? And it's not a problem until it affects white people.
Oh my. Okay. And I mean,
the issue either doesn't exist, or it's not that serious, or it just doesn't get the airtime. One of the three.
Well, I think it's,
unless it affects the majority.
It affects the majority, and I agree with that. And I agree, and I hate that it has to happen that way. Unfortunately, it happens that way too frequently. And this is just an example. I think the conversation was like, okay, so what now? What happens now? Okay, now there was a spotlight, shining on Notre Dame incident, and it kind of bounced back onto what was happening here in the United States.
And that's phenomenal.
And that's phenomenal.
It is.
But now what do we do? How do we safeguard this from happening? Because the reason what was repeatedly happening is because no one had the conversation. Or maybe it got brushed off in the news. You know what I mean? I mean, they talked about it. They talked about how it happened. But it was not really any persons out there advocating to safeguard these communities of faith that continually seem to have these issues.
You know what I just thought about? Maybe, and I don't know, this is conjecture, but listen, I'm going to run with it.
Okay.
Maybe it's a function of like the fact that it's been not necessarily swept under the rug, but not dealt with out front.
Okay.
Because of how modern day Christendom is viewed. With the not the advent, but with the prevalence of mega churches. So the fact that the church is now a full-fledged business.
Okay.
Right. The fact that there are many pastors, leaders of congregations who
black and white.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not
black,
even
white,
about,
and other.
Yeah, that out here balling. They're riding in Bentleys. Okay. They're having these great homes that are living these $1 million lifestyles.
Not a pauper lifestyle.
Exactly. They're living these $1 million lifestyles. Maybe people are turned off from that and saying, listen, I think that's been dominating the headlines, especially in black church as of late. When I say late, the past 20, 25 years with the Creflos and the TD Jakeses and all of that. You see what I'm saying? I wonder if people are just more so paying attention to all of that, scrutinizing that part of the black churches and not necessarily looking at what's happening from because people don't. Human nature, unfortunately, likes to talk down. And when you look at it, like what kind of news do we get? we get the killing and the murdering and the robbing and the bad news. It's very rare that we have the uplifting story, or it's very rare that we have the story of people helping, or even a call for help.
Yeah.
It has to be a telethon or it has to be a special edition. We just don't do that. So the fact that nobody's calling for help for black churches doesn't really shock me. I'm thankful. I'm grateful as a person who grew up in a black church, and that's the core of me. I'm thankful that this is getting shined upon, but I just wonder if the narrative of the mega church is overshining all of this, because it's a big narrative.
I think. Well, you know what? I don't know, because I think I don't necessarily know how many people outside of the community of faith in the African American group have an issue with mega church per se. I think, and the reason why I say that.
Oh, I can tell you why. No, I agree with that. Because most of their pastors ain't the mega. Even if they are balling, they're not as gaudy and flaunted and tawdry as we are as black folk. Let's just keep them funky.
Yeah. So exactly, and I think so. I think it's not. I really, it's twofold. It's two sides to this coin. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because again, unfortunately, it took a fire at Notre Dame to actually examine what was happening right here in the United States. Unfortunately, it took people to point out that our commander-in-chief was very quick to offer aid to help rebuild the church, and not necessarily offer aid to rebuild things that was happening right here. I mean, I think that's what a lot of times, or that's how people started jumping on it really quickly. Like, okay, well, no, this is actually crazy. These things have been happening here forever. You've never. And so I'm
But you want to meet with black pastors? Shut up.
Where are you going with this conversation? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I know where you're going. I know where you're going. But no, seriously, it's interesting. So, I commend everyone for financially supporting
absolutely
all the institutions of faith that have incurred some form of violence or act of some type of criminal act against it. Thank you all for your contributions. Thank you all for help rebuild because most of these places, whether here or abroad, are places that are staples in their respective communities. And when they have experienced this type of activity, it does put a hurt on the community. It does affect how people feel about not just their faith, but their safety. So shout out to those who are actually doing their part to make sure that we stay safe.
And we have to shout out to our Facebook Live family.
Come on, Facebook Live family.
Thank you for tuning in, but you got to subscribe to get the rest of the show. So, subscribe to our show on all the major platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Review our show across all platforms to help us build better content for you, and share the entire show with your family and friends right from the Sphere Podcast Network Facebook page. And last but not least, support our mission to bring enriched and inspiring content each and every week. You can do a one-time donation at www.thesphere.tv/donate, or get exclusive content almost daily via our Patreon tier. Sign up at thesphere.tv/Patreon. Shout out to Brian Gibson. Clinton says the other issue is the leader of the USA is offering some relief fund for that country and nothing. Absolutely. And you mentioned that, regarding the churches, the offering money to Italy.
Yeah.
Over in Notre Dame. So it's an interesting thing. Another thing that I want to talk about regarding that is, it's kind of a spur conversation, but you mentioned, Kira, that you don't think others outside of black folks have as big of a problem. You do have those that have a problem, but have as big of a problem as mega pastors. With their mega pastors. And listen, let's just keep it funky. Do you know what kind of house or car Joel Osteen drives? It's out there.
I'm assuming it's a nice car, but I'm almost certain it's not going to be a Bentley.
Well, what I'm saying is, right, even if it is, what I'm saying is
we will never know.
Right. Discretion.
We will never know.
Discretion.
And I applaud those who are able to operate.
Rod Parsley, do you know what he... You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? And we're in church culture, not as much, but we're connected to it.
Yeah.
Really, do you? So it's just very interesting. I think that there's a conversation and even a show to be had about that. But I digress.
But you digress. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff that's happening in the world.
Let's do it or let's do it.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so weed is the conversation of the hour.
Chronic.
420 is right around the corner, people. How many people are going to be blazing up? No, don't answer that question. How many people are going to be blazing on 420? I cannot say it will be me. It won't be me. But I do know that people around the country will be smoking on 420 because guess what? It is legal in many places.
Listen.
It's not legal here in the great state of Texas.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's getting there.
But it is legal in a lot of places.
Surprisingly to me, it's getting there. I didn't think it would.
I knew
you
it would.
You said it. Shout out to Jerry Walters when he came on the show.
Yes.
Opinion Wellness.
Yes.
Y'all said it. I wasn't a believer.
Oh no,
I don't trust Texas.
Let me tell you why I trust because just like anything else, if it's money to be
I'm
made,
about to say you trust money.
Listen,
right.
You follow the money.
Facts.
Follow the money. If there's money to be made in it, there's going to be a way to legalize it.
Yeah.
Trust that.
Yeah, facts.
So,
capitalism
always wins. I mean, always rules. So prosecutor Kim Fox, she is now going around the country. I'm going to say she's like on a tour. I'm going to say, and she's teaming up with city officials to expunge marijuana cases. She's done it in California. But now she's doing it in Chicago. And shout out to her. One clap for her. Shout out to her because, it's
Give me one clap again for that.
Because by and large, many minorities have been, have this on their record and they cannot a lot of times get, opportunities for work and employment that they need just because they have a marijuana charge of something as small as, I will say, I don't know.
Yeah, like a dime bag.
I would say a dime bag, some small amount of marijuana that's on their, on their history forever. And I'm glad that they're going around expunging it because these people they deserve a chance. This is not, and there is a difference, and we could talk about this on a whole nother show, a difference between how they criminalize marijuana, which is from the earth, people, versus how they criminalize white collar crimes in drugs such as
crack cocaine versus cocaine.
Crack cocaine versus cocaine.
Right.
And so I'm glad that we're having this conversation and talk about the inequity, jail time, penalties versus what happens in one and the other. So it's good that they're expunging these cases because again, these people for smoking. We don't know we have not yet found anyone to say that they have committed some severe crime based upon a marijuana possession charge. So it's really an interesting thing. So I'm a shout out to prosecutor Kim Fox, and I hope her work is not blocked in any way. It actually is going to do good for the nation because if we give everyone a fresh start, we're going to see we're going to potentially see a lot of great things do. It's kind of like the conversation we had before about this when I had to do my research because I was not aware that at one point marijuana was not illegal. It was actually legal at one point.
It was legal until the 60s.
Until the
late 60s.
60s, right? And it became illegal based upon things that they were trying to do with some of our Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters. And so they were trying to find a way to criminalize their two things. It was a lot.
Big tobacco is the reason.
Okay.
It's one of the reasons why.
Competition, right?
Right, because it was competition.
Right.
They were trying to corner the market on anything that you could smoke legally.
Okay.
And so anything that's a anything they wanted to drive out the competition, and they were able to do so. They were able to create this idea of once the 70s started dying down, and then the flower childs and the hippies and 60s movement, and then Reagan came and started the war on what?
Drugs.
After the war on drugs happened in the late 70s, early 80s, that's when you saw a downward shift in the acceptance of, even though it was illegal at the time, it still was kind of because it was so
prevalent beforehand.
Yeah, that's when you start seeing the acceptance of it, and then on top of that is when you start seeing convictions go up in urban neighborhoods, black and brown people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and I love what prosecutor Kim Fox is doing, DA Kim Fox is doing, because it is phenomenal. Because by and large, overwhelmingly, like 3-1, or I've seen as high as 5-1. that black folks black and brown folks receive higher conviction rates, longer sentences, versus for marijuana charges, especially non-violent. Most marijuana charges, and I don't have the
non-violent. Yeah, absolutely.
Are non-violent.
Marijuana, y'all.
And they're smoking. They're not even trafficking. They may have a pound because they go to the crib to have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Like their house may be smoking.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like so it's not like they're trafficking, it's not like they're peddling, it's not like they're trying to, you know what I'm saying, be these dope dealers most of the time, even if they have that amount. Now you got 200 keys of weed, yeah, all right, cool.
Now you are selling drugs.
We know what time it is.
You are selling drugs.
You got 16 ounces, which is a lot of weed. That's a pound of weed. That's a lot. You're probably not selling a pound. Like, you're probably just gonna go home and just smoke for like, I don't know how long a pound lasts.
I don't know either, but
you know what I'm saying. Like,
but we know it's not for for distribution.
Right. That's my point. That is my point.
It's not for distribution. It's for personal use.
When you look at these non-violent, shout out to Kim Ogg, Harris County District Attorney here in Houston, which Houston is in Harris County. She's doing the exact same thing.
Oh, so the Kim's got it.
Yeah, the Kim's got it. Absolutely.
The Kim's got it.
One clap for the Kims.
Okay, the Kim Ogg and Kim Fox, y'all get
with
on
these
this
with these Hollywood names, Ogg and Fox.
I mean, y'all
that sounds like a dope
a show, a TV show.
Ogg and Fox. I'm on a roll.
Oh, he'll be here all week. No, seriously. And then we did our little research on this, and we're going to have this conversation. You did some research not too long ago, and we were talking about how the marijuana industry as a whole, especially in places like California, has made marijuana sexy. They have places in LA where you can go to Barney's. Inside of Barney's, you can buy high-end weed paraphernalia and marijuana. I forgot the name of it, and it's all like behind glass. Like, okay, hey, come in, buy. Like,
it's
people are
really swanky, really
places,
high-end,
and then the other places online. I forgot the name of.
Oh yeah, I can't remember, but
the B or something like that. But it was like that was another thing. It's like you're making it.
In New York, the New York Barney's is supposed to open there. It's called high end.
High end.
The top
high
floor.
End marijuana, y'all.
The top floor is called high end of Barney's. The Beverly Hills flagship already has one open, and the one is somewhere in Manhattan.
Okay,
is going to be opening.
So part of what I researched called off of Life Hackers, it said that beneath the veneer of gleaming display cases and $950 bongs peddled at Barney's.
Listen,
this weed industry is blowing up, y'all. So if you don't think,
pun intended.
Listen. If you don't think your state is going to legalize it, knowing that this type of money is flowing,
man, look,
you have got to be off your rocker.
You do. So get ready.
$950 for a bong. Who in the hood? Like, who in the hood?
Right.
Who in the hood?
It ain't the hood paying for bongs.
Who in the hood is paying for bongs?
Listen,
look at how they have it all set up right there.
I understand. This is what you got.
It's like a candy store.
No, you're missing it. The hood ain't paying for it. That's why it's okay. It's in Beverly Hills. Barney's ain't in the Bronx. Barney's ain't in South Central.
Display,
it ain't in Compton.
They done made it look like a popcorn
Barney's
factory.
is in Beverly Hills. Barney's is in downtown Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? Barney's is on State Street in Chicago. I don't know if it is, but I'm saying it's on that kind of neighborhood.
I get
you know what I mean? So it's like they ain't paying for it. It ain't in the hood. That's why I'm telling you, once the majority accepts it, it's okay.
But I think that's telling for us, and it also lets you know that we need to be more educated about what we're. I mean, it's going to be the equivalent of because for a long time I was so confused for a long time because here in Houston we have a store called High Times. I'm like, why do we have stores called High Times and all you can actually really sell smoke shops is nicotine type products, right?
And then, but you can sell pipes and stuff.
But why would you sell a pipe if you can't sell a drug?
Right. Because you can still smoke the tobacco out of the pipe.
Ideally, right?
That ain't what's happening. But
right. So
I produce over here like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tobacco out of the pipe.
Who in your hood?
Who is getting some skull?
Who in your hood is 30 years old smoking tobacco out of a pipe? Who
is going to get that little thing of skull and putting it up in the pipe and lighting it?
I only know a few people that do that, and those usually are like baseball players.
Yeah, but they snuff it.
Yeah, that's right. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah,
what's wrong with me today?
So understand that marijuana's coming to our doors, and it's going to be packaged very attractively to make sure that the masses continue to accept it. Know that it's going to be one of the biggest things when 2020 hit. Everybody is going to be running around here with joints.
Listen,
everybody. Mark my words.
But this is
everybody.
the thing. Remember when we did the research, the company that starts with a B, I can't remember the name.
I'm about to look it
go
up.
look it up. Remember, you know, before with all of that,
What is the name?
they are Google high end Barney's, and they'll tell you the name of the product. They have weed candy. Remember. So it's not even that has the cannabidiol, the CBD, and the HTC, all of the oils and stuff that they create the impaired effect. They have that within the candy. Like it's not just weed and joints. You know, it's not just bud brownies anymore. You know, it's like it's literally full-fledged candy and suckers and cookies and pastries that they are putting this stuff in. It has nothing like you can literally have you would never know. You could pop one of these candies before a meeting, before a board meeting, and you because your anxiety is high, and now your anxiety ain't high no more.
And you're mellow, and it's going to be super accepted.
It's going to be super accepted. In fact, we need you to accept that this portion of the show is sponsored by True Digital. You're online right now, and so are your customers. Well, the question is, how do you actively reach them? Marketing has to be a consistent journey, and we're here to walk with you every step of the way. True Digital Media Consulting can help with website development, online ads, your business reputation, and organic growth on search engines. Give us a call today to discuss a customized strategy for your business at 832-934-4436 or send an email over to info@truedigitalmediaconsulting.com. Mention the Sphere to receive a free 30-minute strategy consultation. Listen, we're not necessarily advocating for weed. We're not advocating for weed. What we're saying is get ready because it's there's about to be like the weeds are about to grow. But I'm here all week. I am
all
on a
week.
roll.
He's opening up all week.
Listen, I'm be at Caroline's.
Caroline. Okay, I'm still looking up because I'm
trying to find it, but it's so interesting. You guys know, but seriously, in all seriousness, I wanted to provide a levity to a situation that's very, very. It has been dark for so long.
Yeah, it has been dark, and I hope they hurry up and actually legalize the recreational use of it. And the reason why is just too many people that have gone to jail for the recreational use of marijuana when it's less hazardous than smoking a cigarette.
Listen, you people commit more crimes because they're drunk,
right?
Than when they're high off of weed.
For sure.
And alcohol is 100% legal.
100%, and you know how many times we done went through prohibition with that. So it's like this is just the cycle, I guess,
crazy.
For the marijuana. It's about time for it to go legal.
People don't get in wrecks because they high weed. They go to sleep before they start the car. You know what I mean?
Sleeping behind the wheel.
Yeah, but they don't even start the car. They
don't even start the car.
They just get hungry.
They get hungry, Kaylin.
I'm just, and so again, I'm trying to provide some levity, but it's a serious situation because these low-level drug offenses, they're not trafficking, they're nonviolent, they're disproportionately levied against black and brown people.
Absolutely.
And so the fact that Attorney Fox,
yes,
Kim Fox out of Chicago, is really fighting a good fight. I salute her.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to have a little bit more champions for change.
For sure.
More champions for change, especially for these issues, because we have to figure out a way to give people fresh starts for things like that. They shouldn't continue to be punished, especially after we know what's going to happen next when it becomes legal. So, for sure. Okay, now moving on to something else. Who in the world does not love Beyonce?
Well, you know what? Oddly enough, there are some crazy folks that don't.
There's some crazy people, and I don't necessarily claim to be a part of the Beehive or anything like that, but I love me some Beyonce.
You're part of the Beehive. You just.
I just don't sting like that.
You don't sting like that. You chilling.
Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm like, I love B. I'm like, I think she's amazing.
I'm a part of the Beehive.
I mean, I think she's amazing. I love her as an artist.
Facts.
I think she's a great entertainer. I love
a good humanitarian.
She's a good humanitarian. I love the way she thinks. She's very much a creative in everything she does.
And
I
very
think
strategic.
she's very strategic, and I commend her strategy
Facts.
when it comes to launching things, executing things. I love the fact that she's at this stage of her life. She's wise enough to know who she needs and who she doesn't.
She's protective of her family.
She's protective of her family. She's protective of her brand.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
her family's part of her brand.
but I'm saying her brand. But and I wish we all would learn from that, because she has, her and her husband, her spouse, even before they got married, were very strategic on how they even introduced themselves to the world. No matter what you saw of them, it wasn't fact until they spoke on it.
It was on their terms.
And it's on their terms.
Their
so
relationship was on their terms.
They didn't comment on it. They kept their mouth closed. It's what they want. Even now, what you want to know about my life, I'll show you the way
when I want to show
when
you.
I show you. You can think, you can speculate all you want, but you will never know until I confirm it.
Facts.
And I think when you train people like that, they call it doing what? Pulling a Beyonce. People, we have been trained by Beyonce about how and where and what we're going to expect from her, and she does it never calculated. She's never calculated about anything. You never know when she's going to do anything. And just recently, yesterday, her Homecoming movie debuted on Netflix. It is a documentary of the history-making 2018 Coachella #Beachella performance that was 2 weeks during the Coachella Festival, and it was history making because it was everything that we would not expect from Beyonce, but it was history making because she highlighted so many things about her history as an African American person, but she also highlighted a lot of things about culture of Black people, especially those who have been to college. She talked about the urban culture, the Black culture. She talked about how she prepares. She talked about, what that looks like. She did, the immense amount of rehearsal, 8 months of rehearsal to go into that performance, especially right after having a kid. She definitely gives you a lot of herself when she debuts these type of documentaries about her life, and never to be never to disappoint. She always gives people something more. And in this something more, she dropped some exclusive music as well. And she absolutely pulled a Beyonce. So in true Beyonce fashion, we just want to clap her because she never disappoints. She always delivers more than what you can expect. But many people actually did tune in for the streaming live of the Coachella performance. But it's something else. Huh?
We did.
We did. But it's something else to actually be able to go behind the scenes and see how she creates, because it is inspiration. So
let's one clap her. So we know one of her. She's from Houston, and we have the privilege of knowing one of her background singers who's been with her since day one. One of the mamas, and we've had some intimate conversations with her, and just to understand and talk about and realize and get the inside scoop on how they prepare for shows and how they prepare to deliver their art and to deliver their craft. It is amazing. There's a lesson to be learned for those of us, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in a creative space, whether you're an accountant. It doesn't matter whether you are an engineer, a building engineer. It doesn't really matter what it is. You're a cafeteria person, worker. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you work from Luby's or you're the doggone president of the United States. There's this approach that you have to have towards greatness and towards excellence. Because listen, Psalms is clear when it says that we're like the gods, right? And so I truly believe that we have that God-like potential. We have the ability to create and to do phenomenal and wonderful things, but we have to approach it in such a way that product or that yield is really going to be what it is that we want to have. And so I salute Beyonce for not only showing the behind the scenes stuff, because there's another Beyonce out there. We never thought there would be a greater. For the longest, nobody thought there would be a entertainer who was better than I can't think of her name. She was the spy. She was the CIA spy. She what is her name? She was the CIA spy. What's her name?
Josephine Baker.
Josephine. We never thought there would be another Josephine, a better entertainer than Josephine Baker, right? We never thought there would be a better entertainer than Diana Ross and the Pips. And then we get to woman entertainer Janet Jackson. Then we get to her brother Mike. And now we have beyond like every generation or so.
And they've
there's
elevated the
somebody.
game.
So there's another Beyonce being groomed.
Yeah.
There's another Steve Jobs being groomed.
Yeah,
there's
right
another
now.
Mark Zuckerberg being groomed. Right. There's another innovator, creator, business person, Gandhi, Dr. King. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And getting these behind the scenes approaches or shots, curated nonetheless, but getting them real raw in your face allows you to see, kind of get a blueprint of how it's done.
Yeah.
And so I applaud folks that do that. People say, she's doing this for money, she's doing it for a check. Well, she's an entertainer, number one. So
I mean, she gotta eat. This is her job. This is her job.
Listen,
This is her job.
Right. She got to eat, but at the same time, she's providing a lot of motivation, inspiration, how-tos, employing a lot of people.
Absolutely.
You've reviewed some contracts for folks to work for, to work with Parkwood and all of that. So it's an amazing opportunity. I salute it. I didn't know until just now. I'm not gonna front. I just downloaded it on your phone that she had 40 songs. I know what I'm listening to the next 3 days, exclusively without the kids in the car because it had an E on it.
Yeah.
So please believe it's on all streaming platforms. Oh yeah, here we go. Beehive.
That's so funny. Yeah. So she's the truth. So, and we all, like I said, we all can learn from how she executes and provides us the content that we need, because she actually does it in such a way that she keeps us wanting more. So we all need to learn how to pull a Beyonce.
And if you have natural hair, you need to learn how to maintain it.
Maintain your natural booski.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Lady Irie Natural Hair Care. I'm going to do this voice. Have a kinky curly style in mind? Lady Irie Natural Hair Care has been a prime destination for catering to naturally kinky hair in Houston, Texas, and beyond for over 5 years. Clients come from all over the world to receive the ultimate experience for their natural hair care needs. Lady Irie Natural Hair Care has been featured on media outlets including Young Black Professionals Magazine, GMT Internet Radio, The Sphere, and more. Your unique vision can be brought to life by complete with helpful tips for maintaining your hair. You will walk into the salon with the warmest of greetings, complimentary refreshments, and knowledgeable stylists that promote total beauty from the inside out. Our goal is to unveil your kinks one curl at a time. Give the experts a call today at 832-265-3792 or book your online appointment at www.ladyirie.com. That's LADYAYRI.com.
Y'all check out LadyIrie.com. Lady Irie Hair Care.
Yes, and I'm going to talk the rest of the show like this.
Please don't. Okay, so before we wrap up, I know this is like in your alleyway, in your street, kind of, sort of.
Talk to me.
When I talk about. Well, we have an option, or maybe we can talk about both, but maybe talk about one. I don't know. So we've talked about the pay for admission scandal, right? Remember we talked about that.
Have.
And one of
with
the
Lori
actress,
Loughlin and all that.
actress Lori Loughlin apparently pled not guilty to the scandal. She said she felt like she didn't have any other options but to plead not guilty. There was a plea deal on the table.
What?
You had no other options. Well, the option was to plead guilty. But anyway, so and there a lot of people saying that she's she is in a situation where she feels like she doesn't understand why she's getting so much criticism for pleading not guilty. People must not realize she had no choice. The plea deal had been taken off the table, and this is the only way for her to. Way they've been told she and Massimo can avoid jail time and get another plea deal. They're just hoping justice will prevail. So my understanding of that is there was a plea deal on the table, and I think it either expired or they rejected it. Either way, and I'm not quite sure what was involved in this particular plea deal, but so when it was time for them to go to court, they entered a plea of not guilty in hopes that another plea deal can be created and come to, so they can take that deal. Hopefully it's a better deal. They're saying that she is very distraught, upset about everything that has occurred, and she's really focused on reconciling with her daughter. So the other side of the story that people really don't talk about, we talk about Lori Loughlin because she is with Aunt Becky from Full House. We don't really talk about what happens to the child in the situation, because the assumption is you can't scratch that. You can't assume that the child was aware of the parent, what the parent did. Of course, the person who came up with the scheme itself definitely did not approach the child. He definitely probably approached the person with the money, which would be the parents.
Of course.
And
there's no way to prove that the child knew, so why even go after the child? And
then you're dealing with a child who, at this point, if his child is in school, what are they dealing with at school?
Right.
How's that affecting their relationships with people? How are people looking at them? Because again, most of the times when these kids go to college, you're not always going to college with people who are privileged. A lot of times people that are, that have come from backgrounds where their parents do, qualify as the 1% or the 2%. Some of their, their classmates do not.
Right.
And so there is
the majority of 87% of college students are on financial aid.
Right. And so there is a side eye there.
Yeah.
So how does that affect relationships? What do you think? How would that affect a relationship?
Yeah, and that's interesting because we always say kids can be cruel, but people can be cruel.
People can be
cruel, period. And so to think about what this young lady could we don't know, but could potentially be going through is scary. Listen, she's there, and I like to believe that she had nothing to do with it, and so she's there because her mom and dad did, got involved in some activity they shouldn't, but she shouldn't be punished for it.
Absolutely.
As long as she's maintaining the grades, as long as that she's able, he or she is able to perform, I don't think there should be an issue. But people don't always think like me or think like that, and so it definitely could be something that's difficult to maintain. People could think she's a cheat. She comes from that kind of stock. You don't know what kind of retribution and backlash she could be getting from faculty members, from administrators, from financial aid folks, from admissions people, from internships coordinators. Like, you just really don't know. The fact that she's air quote a rich kid or the daughter of someone famous already has enough heat behind it anyway. And now your famous parents did something that they shouldn't have done. She should not have done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a lot
tough.
to it.
It's a lot for the kid.
It's a lot
kid.
for
Even though the kid, I don't know how old she is, but she's an adult now. I would imagine she's at least over 18, and so I'm sure it's tough.
I'm sure it's tough. So the reason why I brought it up is I really didn't. When we talk about these stories, we have to really think about how does it affect a person, the student or the child in a situation, and how it affects their ability to actually have healthy relationships with their peers. Yeah. So definitely, hopefully, they are able to reconcile the relationship with both parents, mom and dad.
Right.
And hopefully the law is applied to them just as it's applied to everyone else.
Right.
And I really would like to see, what I would like to see because of this case is that those persons who actually maybe used a different address or move, we talked about that, are actually serving time in jail for using a different address to get their kids in a better school. Hopefully those persons' cases will be thrown out or they're expunged and be, released and things like that. That's what I would like to see because, again, obviously people are doing this because they're looking for an opportunity for their child to have a better life. So let's see that applied across the board.
I hope so.
Fairly.
Again, it an issue to the effect.
Hey. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's so many other things we could talk about, but we don't have to talk about today.
Yeah, we got to cap it on this one, but it's been a phenomenal. This was a fun show.
It was a fun show.
Fun. I'm
crazy.
Kalen Laws, a.k.a. Senor Wapo. Go to Instagram, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, and follow me. Go to my website. Type in SENORGUAPO 713. Holla at your boy.
And you can holler at me, too. You will not find me on SenorWapo713.com, but you will find me.
Actually, you are on there.
I am, but they're not going to be able to communicate yet. They're going to scroll through. I'm probably hidden. But you can follow me on Instagram at The Modern Day Cindy. That's Cindy with 2 I's, CINDI. And holla at me.
We'll see you later.
See you later.
Thank you for tuning in to Society Now.